This video is sponsored by Knuckles OX and Crimson Manifesto. Hey y'all, very quickly, please do the usual YouTube things like leaving a like, subscribing, etc. I didn't really talk about the subject much, but I've been having a small bit of issue being content with leaving Zabuza Act 2 where I did. I'm now of the opinion that at the pace I start with Act 1, which I think is still pretty good, I should have stretched out Pain's assault and fleshed out some of the battles in it before Naruto's arrival, since I admittedly didn't cover them with as much detail as I usually do, and it left some legitimate important questions still open, which I definitely apologize for. Not to mention, I also missed out on some possibly fun set pieces like a version of Tsunade's performance in the assault that doesn't make her go comatose afterwards. And I definitely could have expanded a lot more on Kage and Zabuza versus the Deva path. Even could have added a little scene of half-crippled Asuma still proving himself and protecting his king by defending a pregnant Kurenai and being saved by Shikamaru. Like I said, tons of stuff and certainly my fault, and a matter of me rushing towards the end of the story too hard to remember to truly indulge and explore the journey. With these matters, however, as most simply boiled down to the leaf isn't being dog-walked into a dry mud hole, I am willing to take the L and just kinda chalk this up to a learning experience, at least where it concerns Pain's assault. However, the L I am not willing to take is that the 5 Kage Summit arc not being as fleshed out as it could have been, as we have even more fun opportunities here, or at the very least, a very vital one that should get more time, being a 3rd round rematch between Sasuke and Naruto. See, this is a subject I've talked about a good bit, but visuals are a big aspect of my content, at least for me. So when drafting up action set pieces especially, they sometimes also end up acting as slight buffers or limiters to me expanding on things. Which is also a reason why I've tried to just slow it down and take the L on stories being covered in shorter but more frequent installments as well. We'll see how I work this out when it actually comes to making a full story compilation and trying to weave this Act 3 inside where Act 2 leaves off, but for now, please enjoy this slight retake on the clash at the 5 Kage Summit. We resume as a Zetsu Sprout makes his presence known to the assembled Kage and their aides, alerting them of Sasuke Uchiha's presence at the summit, even confirming that his target is Danzo Shimura, who had sneakily thrown his weight around to join 5th Hokage Tsunade in her journey to the summit in a feeble attempt to make a play at hypnotizing the 5 great nation leaders. But as the Raikage moves at super fast speeds to snuff out the Sprout, the samurai ordered to root out Sasuke, with the Raikage fervently wanting to join the hunt of revenge for his brother. Here, Naruto begins to bristle, as Sasuke is by no means his reason for coming to this summit. It's not as if the Leaf delegation didn't have plans to start bargaining for his favor at some point during the meeting. So, he makes to join the Lightning Shadow and his aides in the hunt for Sasuke, while Sakura remains with Lady Tsunade as Danzo begins plotting an escape in what sounds and feels like an all-out war already, due to a much more powerful and bloodlusted Sasuke Uchiha, currently tearing through the samurai's forces with more ferocity than we were used to in canon, both clearly influenced by his access to the hidden mid-stolen Kiba swords and his unlocked Mangekyo Sharingan. And so the Taka engage with the Hidden Cloud. As the Raikage thunders forth to teach Sasuke a lesson, his Taka are now bolstered by a now much greater belief in their leader's strength, and so don't feel a need to watch his back so much as try to keep the riffraff off of him. This giving them the courage to challenge the Raikage's party with surprising efficiency, as Jugo releases his full killing intent with total trust that Sasuke can quell him if he goes out of control, allowing him a preemptive charge towards the interlopers at high speed. While Suigetsu has been using this chance in the land of the samurai to redeem himself as a swordsman, taking down as many of them barehanded as he could, and quickly gathering the gist of their and Sasuke's swordplay as he continuously collects and hides their stolen blades within his watery body, using them to attack in creative ways he never thought of when pampered by the special abilities of the Mist Swords. Wise enough not to waste energy on this frontal assault, the Cloud Ninjas simply evade, with A and Darui as physical fighters showing the great speed their smug village is so vaunted for, while C uses a flashing genjutsu to slip away, leaving the unsynced Naruto finding himself dead center of Jugo's charge where he has to react on a dime, creating a shadow clone to help him with the weight, allowing them to turn the speed against the psychopath with a tag team shoulder throw, using the split-second opening this creates and a bit of airtime to send him packing with a quick fire wind-style Rasengan, successfully knocking that dog back out of him for a bit. This allows Naruto to engage the blade-hungry Suigetsu barehanded, as he uses his new liquidation Genjutsu style to literally rain down and slice apart the summit grounds at high-pressure crescents of water chakra, swearing manically to dice up Sasuke's chumpy stalker and steal that sweet sword of his. Meanwhile, with Kage keeping a low profile in case anyone needs recovery, Sasuke is left to deal with the Raikage and his strongest non-Jinchuriki Jonin alone, the men from the Land of Lightning seeming far less impressed with the use of the Kiba swords than B had been, instead matching Sasuke's lethality and going straight for kill shots. However, the opening Darui and C try to make for their lord is the extent of their matchup to Sasuke, his quick blade work quickly overwhelming Darui, as he blatantly apes B's 8-sword style with the 3 he'd currently been wielding, along with 5 Manifestor from Lightning Chakra, allowing him to flawlessly copy the combo he'd been nearly skewered with by Killer B, folding up Darui as one of the coolest ninja in the Hidden Cloud while simply knocking C out with a Genjutsu. just as A takes the opening to lay into him with a high-speed gut shot in his lightning chakra mode, following as he flies back to layer in further blows for daring to mock his sibling, while Sasuke attempts to counter with a Chidori, seeming to strike a vital area only to suffer a Liger Bomb at the end. This moment sees both the Kage and Suigetsu shocked, as an ethereal ribcage forms to protect Sasuke from the damage, revealing his access to the Susanoo, while Naruto, now bearing the markings of a sage, uses the frog Kumite to perform a sword catch, and then create a small hurricane all in one motion, dispersing the watery swordsman's body across the room as liquid like B had, as he moves on and attempts to stop the clash between the Kage and Sasuke before it can grow any bloodier, just barely managing to distract his rival long enough that when the lightning shadow disengages, he actually escapes with his arm intact in his timeline, while Sasuke decides to steal from him as well, using the Kiba swords as a crutch to amplify his lightning affinity greatly, as he attains his own lightning chakra mode, and zipping in front of Naruto at speeds worthy of his new eyes, his sword itself in the Thunder Fang archery form, as he fires off a point-blank headshot that the Jinchuriki is just quick enough to block with his forearm. Here, Gaara makes himself known with a very helpful and clutch bright bumper assist to block the falling salvo of arrows with his sand, spitting Naruto on the other side of Sasuke so he can use the silent killing technique to shoulder bash him, pushing him away. This breaking the battle allowing him to regroup with his companions, while the likes of the Kage and the other aides file out behind Gaara, while Ao and the other missed aide Nami have bound and been ordered to guard Danzo, as Naruto is given a chance bought by the goodwill of Gaara, Tsunade, and Mei to try and convince Sasuke and the Taka off this path of revenge, all assembled agreeing Danzo should face the full extent of justice for his crimes, but not truly understanding Sasuke's hatred either, and some still openly wanting him to face that same justice, with even Sakura admitting she'd rather see his pain end now than watch him slip any further into the darkness. But ready to dole out his own brand of justice, Sasuke raises the Kiba swords high, summoning an ethereal skeletal hand wielding a massive thunder sword of its own, willing it to slice a massive hole into the summit building ceiling, and creating a tear open to the sky. Keeping his arms out wide, he ferociously orders them all to simply be gone with a thunderclap, as thunder and rain begin to rumble, and something terrifyingly massive begins to writhe in the storm, revealing its head and that the Kidding's fangs alone now eclipse the miniature lightning beast Sasuke could conjure beforehand, calling it down without even care for his allies, old or new, thus the new moniker, Kidding Kiba. Only now does Naruto unsheathe the Snow Demon, resolving this a necessity and thus calling forth his chakra in a Saisley presentation of the Helmet Splitter, endeavoring to make Kakashi proud as he outpaces the lightning and delivers a powerful slashing pillar of wind chakra to split it in half, diverting it so only the surrounding area of the summit is decimated by the strike, leaving Naruto nearly numb and being constantly pestered by the remaining stack of electricity, an opportunity Sasuke is more than happy to take for another attempt at overwhelming Naruto with the 8-sword style, now seeing the sluggish Naruto struggle to react in time, while quickly amassing an impressive collection of cuts, as well as having to adapt quickly as Sasuke begins substituting some of the lightning blades for Amaterasu blades. Naruto's only saving grace is that by deciding to flaunt his greater power, Sasuke has put a greater strain on his eyes and has also not relied on his team as much as he could, seeing he and Naruto in similar straits as all eyes remain on them, as the bitter rival swordplay becomes ferocious enough to nearly keep them dry in the now torrential rains, only ending when the pair finally break through each other's defenses and are just able to spitefully deliver fairly shallow slashes to their opposing dominant arms, leaving gnarly scars that disable the limbs until they receive medical attention. Recognizing this is all either shinobi have, even if rather impressive, the Kage prepares for another go, this time backed by the Tsuchikage, whilst reinforcements arrive as samurai surround the exits joined by the Sasuke tracking team led by Kakashi, ironically being last to the party. But before the advantage can be pressed much further, Sasuke makes a play to sacrifice his pawn, making an exception only for Kage due to her usefulness, thereby displaying the Taka as he used the lightning chakra mode again for a desperate charge towards Danzo. In the chaos, he nearly gets his shot at the Shadow Hokage, if not for the interference of Maizurumi, even more incensed to fight him in a rematch, this time aided by an equally desperate Naruto, and surprisingly, Zabuza, who catches on to Naruto's wavelength of thought fast enough to shadow him and help deliver a master-student silent killing attack to stop Sasuke in his tracks, allowing Mei to pin him down in the Susanoo with her acidic fog. However, this is when Madara and Zetsu decide to make a more forceful introduction, simultaneously restraining everyone present and retrieving the now nearly unconscious Sasuke as well as Danzo for later extermination, declaring the start of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War as well. But while Madara speaks, Naruto interrupts, making a pledge that the next time he and Sasuke cross blades, it shall be the last time, because one of them will surely die, as is their destiny as best friends. Due to this, the events of Sasuke and Danzo's battle on Tenchi Bridge are bypassed, as the Kage return home at once to begin preparations for the war, and in the case of the Hidden Cloud, accommodate the Nine Tails as well for safekeeping of the remaining Jinchuriki. Meanwhile, a rather cocky Kisame would challenge the likes of Killer B, subsequently being seemingly felled himself after Samehada appears to betray him before he is tag-teamed by the Raikage and Eight Tails, leading to the Samehada and Seven Sword Scroll falling into B's hands, whilst in secret, Kisame infiltrates the Hidden Cloud completely undetected. In contrast, someone whose defeat is most certainly not staged is Danzo, as he is held captive in the Kamui dimension until Sasuke is well enough to challenge and easily off him, unflinchingly sentencing him to death for his numerous crimes against Itachi and the Uchiha clan. Nonetheless, his bloodlust is still insatiated, with Sasuke making the request to be given Itachi's eyes, in hopes that maybe when he sees the Leaf Village in ashes, and all those who wronged Itachi dead, he will finally know peace. In the meantime, the Shinobi and 5 daimyo representing the world as a whole prepare for war, being actively assigned guards and moved to a secure location. Thanks to Lady Tsunade's having a lot more aid, and only having really scuffled with some of the less dangerous paths of pain, the Leaf's mobilization isn't halted very much, with Zabuza even receiving a full pardon from both the Mizu and Hokage, in order to operate to his full capacity and at his judgment, meaning Zabuza Momochi has finally earned his freedom. Naruto meanwhile returns to Mount Myoboku to meet with the Great Toad Sage and store his ki within himself, just giving him enough time to grab an interesting bowl of ramen and be asked for an autograph as a hero of the Leaf, before being shipped off to the Hidden Cloud for safekeeping, being masqueraded as further training to make good on his promise to stop Sasuke without his sword if possible. And so, after a seafaring journey, Naruto arrives to the Hidden Cloud's Turtle Island with a small contingent of bodyguards consisting of Iruka, Yamato, Zabuza, and a few others, once again freeing Gaia to be a tad more useful earlier on in the front lines of the war. While Zabuza will be happy to join the conflict head-on, he is just as determined to keep Naruto safe, and beyond that, can't shake the same feeling he got when waking up beside Kakashi after their visit to the next world. The sensation that something much higher than himself is guiding his hands to make this second, and now third chance at life worth it. This has an added benefit for Naruto, as Zabuza being a 7 swordsman with a bunch of worldly street cred helps the younger Jinchuriki more quickly gain B's attention, when as a duo, they subdue the island's resident giant squid alongside him as the two parties finally meet. Upon seeing the Samehada in B's possession, Zabuza is obviously extremely intrigued and wary of it, questioning just about every detail of B's rap, describing the defeat of the shark-faced Akatsuki, and getting an eerie feeling about the vibe and chakra coming off the blade, though everyone else mostly waves this off as simply being because it's been wielded by a creep for so long. Thus, Zabuza endeavors to stick pretty close to B's side just as much as he does Naruto's, as the 8-tailed Jinchuriki shows them around the island a bit, just in case. B concludes this tour by bringing everyone to the Waterfall of Truth, where he explains that Naruto will face a test unlike anything he's ever undergone before. But that is where we'll be leaving things off for right now. Alright peeps, that is going to do it for this slight retconning of What If Zabuza Survived Part 10, Act 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun just kind of rehash this fight a little bit. I think my core issue with it was just that I didn't put enough respect on Sasuke's name. Because if you remember when the 5 Kage Summit was happening like in live action, or at least like week to week for us, and like if you were reading it or watching it, that was a hype ass arc, and it made Sasuke feel not necessarily unstoppable, but it made him truly come into his own as an antagonist of the series. Not just, oh, I'm the anti-hero rival. Like, no, I'm a bad guy. So in this story, where the core of all his changes have just been like, hey, because swordsmanship is kind of a great equalizer for him and Naruto, and it's something that they can kind of both keep to their core, you know, persons in, I feel like Naruto and Sasuke are kind of have some of their core aspects just really heightened. So for Sasuke, a lot of his aggression and killing intent have gotten heightened. So obviously in the arc where he is his most lethal, he should still feel like the most lethal kind of dangerous being I could kind of play with here. And I don't think I did that very well in Part 10 Act 2, because my mindset was still kind of, oh, I'm coming off the Pain's Assault arc, so I need to make Naruto look big and bad. And the kind of end goal with this fight was make them both look pretty good, make Sasuke seem just the little tiniest bit stronger, just still. And that Naruto's having, you know, bonds is now what's kind of carrying him through. He's now gotten strong enough to where like he can equal it out with just the help and care of a few other people. Like Gaara comes in and saves him, and Mai comes in and saves him and stuff like that. But I'm definitely rambling. As you can see, next time as we get into the first part of the finale, we have a long-awaited rematch that is arguably what this entire story has kind of been building up to, and that is Zabuza versus Kisame, you know, the final match. Then from there, we'll see how we handle the pacing, because a lot of it is going to be a war arc, just with Naruto and Sasuke having more swords, and I don't know how you guys are going to want to see me do that. I'm going to try and handle at least the most bare bones and critical of things to cover in those scripts, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, before we get out, big shout outs to Valerius Via, who I got a few more of the images that I used in this version of the fight for. And of course, to the amazing supporters of the channel in the form of channel members and patrons. KnuckleSOX, Crimson Manifesto, Pizza15X, Aaron Winters, Normandy1998, Shao Pai, Coder SV3, Ronin Charizard, Daniel Smith, Drax, Dylan Wolfdog31, Infernate Beast 326, J. Ray, Johnny, Narku, Omar Cousin, Snow Slash Memes and more, Stephen Norton, Taryn, The Shadows, Vegeta What Ifs, Alamancer, B, Blood Down, Lyman Rogers, Omar Muhammad, Aiko, Tay, Inebriated, John Sullivan, Trent Rouse, Dark Shadows, Pokemon Trainer Cam, Riverjoy, Elijah Edwards, Mr. Hamtastic, Jesus is King, Half an Onion, Angel Gonzalez, David Spalding, Lil T910, Flyer B, Joseph Lau, Blaze9526, Trainer Rad 164, Luca Reynolds, Baron Stormblade, Ono, Chris Macareno, Lily, Simroth, Red Violet, DeAndre, Gerald Smith, John Self, Jake Woodker, Massive Oak Wood Tree, Demon Set, True Trade, Dutch McGree 101, Bruce Boswick, Robert Ostergaard, Craig Scheinman, Jal Madden, King Music FR, Ballcore, Zach Eubanks, Crab Trooper 4552, NBA Fan, Courtney Hawkins, and Orion 101. Thanks so much for your direct support, as it means a ton and helps the channel out more than anything else can. With that said, be sure to take care of yourselves and the world around you, and as always, go beyond plus ultra. And I'll see you guys next time.